Hello everyone, I hope you're keeping well. In today's video we're going to be under the arches in Skeltolbo as we look to photograph with the Canon 10-20mm. Of course, this is the RF version. It's going to be fun, super wide. I just took a quick test shot and I thought I'd do a little video for you guys to discuss it, its pros, its cons, and of course it looks like a beautiful piece of kit. We get upstairs, we get under those arches and we're going to photograph it using the Canon R5. Let's do it. Of course it's always cool when you're running workshops that sometimes people have with them pieces of equipment. We've got a Leica on this trip, we've got this super wide angle that we're going to be using this morning, and of course I've already done a video with the R5 Mark II. It's definitely a plus point of running trips like this where people have got the latest equipment. Of course, full-time photographers like myself have to think long and hard about those kind of purchases, so it's not something that we do readily, but to have a go of it, play with it and see the pros and cons. Of course I'm using the Canon R5 for this, and it's a native lens. We were waiting for light this morning to come up, sunrise, so it kind of burst between the arches that are over my shoulder. Of course I've been here many times before, it's not a place that's new to me, but the morning is particularly its strong point because what happens is the light fills these arches and you get kind of like backlit scene, and it also helps to emphasize the kind of architecture that's here. The difficulty in this particular place is there's a wall stretching here behind this camera's position, and that makes it difficult to get so far back. So the challenge is that you need to basically try to fit more in. Sometimes you're too narrow, so something like a 16-35 for example is going to limit you in this case. My best photo of this place that I'll put on the screen now is using of course my 17mm tilt shift left, middle and right as a panoramic, getting 17mm top to bottom, and the equivalent of 11.5mm of width. It's a 5:4 ratio image that I've just put on the screen. This would allow me to do a completely different thing. You can actually get it in one with the 10mm, which I'm going to demonstrate now. Yeah, so here we are. This is the 10-20mm. This is the RF version. I'm going to mount this on the front. Now the first thoughts are it's a lovely size, nice and small, nice and slim, easy in that case to then be able to mount straight on the front, and look at the depth of it. It's not taking up too much space at all, which is kind of cool. I'll just focus that there so you can kind of see that. Really not taking up too much space, so it's nice and compact. It's got its own little built-in lens hood, beautiful little lens. It's actually really not that heavy, so that's the first point here. Of course we're going to turn image stabilization off, AF on, and we've got that focus range there, 10 to 20. Let's go and move into the center. We've moved location, but we're still talking about the 10-20mm, and I've actually come to a different place. It's actually a couple of days later now. We were disturbed while filming about this lens back in Skeltolbo. We've actually gone to the mountains up to Ushkili and Mestalla, and now we're down in the Goria region in a classic staircase that I photographed now 4 or 5 years ago, but I'm still talking about this, the 10-20mm lens. A lens like this is always going to be brilliant for getting you out of tight spaces when essentially you can't get back as far as you want to get. Something like a 10mm here is going to get me out of a tricky situation, but also you can use it creatively, which is what I'm going to look to do in this space. There is actually room here to be able to move through the space and get backwards, but even still, with the 10mm going back as far as I can actually be a little bit creative, because what I can actually do is I can actually get some of this ceiling in above my head here into the foreground of the composition, and then look through at the staircase there using this lens. So we'll get it on the front of the camera. So one thing I've noticed is to use this lens creatively, the reason why I thought this shot would be quite cool is actually because I can step right back, use the 10mm, get that ceiling in, but not just that. The next thing is I've got these beautiful shadows coming off the columns, going left and right, that's going to help draw the eye in through the foreground as well. So that's what I meant by use it creatively. So another thing that's brilliant about this lens is minimal barrel distortion. Of course, ultra wide angle lenses like this are really common for having real big problems when it comes to the edge of the frame and having barrel distortion. But this thing, because of the price point primarily, is brilliant at handling those wider edges to help you minimize that distortion. So that is a plus point for this lens. Let's talk about some of the other pros of a lens like this. First of all, f4 is all you need for architecture photography. It can give you a constant aperture throughout, of course, a nice solid, sharp image throughout the frame. I mean, we're usually using f7.1, f8, f9 in architecture photography, and of course this lens performs best at those apertures, so it's going to be incredibly sharp and beautiful. Now let me talk about the main plus point of this lens, and that is the weight. It actually shocked me to start with. I'm now holding it with my R5, and I would go as far as to say it's the lightest lens that I actually have with me today, because I've borrowed this from Kim, but it's essentially a beautifully light lens for what you're getting out of it. You know, the price you're paying for is because of the kind of construction, the materials that's gone into it, but to make it this lightweight construction, of course, being f4, that allows them as well to be able to make this a little bit smaller. But I remember just a few years back where this sort of lens would still weigh an absolute ton. The bulbous element on the front, the bulbous front end, and the fact the lens itself would have to come out a lot more, and because of that, have a lot more weight. This hasn't got that at all. It's incredibly lightweight, so if you're a traveling photographer, this is going to be a perfect choice for you. So next up, let's compare two lenses side by side, the 10-20, which is here, and a 15-35, which is a lens, of course, that I currently own. The key differences between these is f4, f2.8. The other things as well is this, of course, goes to 35mm, so it's going to be better for your kind of detail shots, especially in commercial architecture. This is going to get you out of more tight spaces, similar to what a tilt shift can do. In terms of price, they're fairly similar. Actually, I looked online, both second-hand and new, and they come in varied around the same price point, depending on your region, where you are and where you pick them up. The other thing as well to bear in mind, though, that if you're doing interior video work, this is probably going to be your choice lens over this one. So of course the 15-35 being a 2.8 is going to get you out of kind of situations where you need to be more low light photography. So in other words, dimly lit locations, places with less lighting. Somewhere like here, that isn't the case. It's also going to help you in interiors just naturally when it comes to video work, as mentioned, because you can get to f2.8, you can increase your ISO up, and without lighting equipment, you can capture some really nice video. 10-20 is going to get you out of more tight spaces, and it's going to get you into situations more creatively and going to help you out, especially if you want to get into narrow little areas or say alleyways, places where you want to sort of maybe get further back from the crowd and actually shoot through something. That's also going to help you, this sort of lens. Now, of course, when it comes to distortion control, the 15-35 is going to be the lens choice for you, because ultimately you're going to be pushing this through to sort of 24, 28mm. Naturally, the distortion is going to be less. Having said that, for the price point, of course, the 10-20 does an excellent job of being able to hold its edges, hold the frame nice and tight for the price that you pay, and it should be doing that. But of course, naturally, it's never going to be quite as good at something as 20, 24, 28mm and so on. So even 15mm on the 15-35, of course, if you're not careful, there could be distortion in there. Now, I've not looked at any tech sheets, I've not looked at anything online and image results, I've not even looked at my images coming out of this camera. Now, of course, one other comparison I'll make between the two is 15-35, easy to put filters on the front. It's just an 82mm thread. You can put your CPLs on there, your ND filters, and so on. And The 10-20 is of course bulbous. It doesn't have a screw-in thread, and that's the same as many other ultra-wide-angle lenses. So if filters are something you'll need into your workflow, then again, the 10-20 isn't going to be for you. And of course, that might then rule out you if you're doing video work. So it depends on you in terms of which one of these lenses is going to work for you. But I'm kind of in love with the 10-20. I think it's kind of creative and fun, which puts that element back into your photography, get you something a little bit different. So it's kind of nice. They're very different, and they handle architecture very, very well, both of them. So they're both, of course, excellent lenses. I wouldn't go as far to say that both of these should be in your lens kit, but it depends on how much video you do and how much you're going into tight spaces, whether the 10mm would actually benefit you on that end. So which is best for you? It's hard to say, really. If you photograph, say, small homes, tight interiors, then probably the 10-20 is going to be for you. If you're doing sort of real estate architecture photography on a regular basis, say small pokey little kitchens, this is going to be the answer. But just be careful on the 10mm. If you're into sort of more, I suppose, professional level work where you're walking into interiors and they need the full package, the video, the photography and more, then the 15-35 is of course going to be the lens of choice. Okay then, so that's pretty much everything for today. I hope you've enjoyed that little talk about the 10-20mm lens. Been a nice experience trying to use it, and actually been a nice experience photographing kind of those creative shots that I did just in this location. Got any comments, leave them below, and until next time, see you all very, very soon.